Allow your breath to start deepening. Whatever has been kind of filling up your mind and challenging your time, let's just take a vacation from what needs to be done, what's in the mind constantly, and let it just be for a little bit of time. And instead, come into the breath. Feel your sense of ground. See if you can plant your mind's eye firmly on observing your breath. See what you can do to melt any part of your body that is not needed for structural stability right now. So anything like your skin, the muscles in your neck, the tension around your eyes, anything you don't need to be tense right now, see if you can melt. All right, let's place the hands together at the heart and gently lift the heart to the hands. Not enough where you're pushing the back body, but just enough to ignite a sense of openness, courage, joy. Offer an intention here. Let's release the hands. All right, so let me back up a little bit. So we're going to stay seated for a moment. Interlace your fingers and press them even further back so you can see me. Interlace your fingers and press them straight up toward the sky. Palms are facing up and extend, lengthen, and breathe. Okay, and then release the hands. Change the cross of your fingers. So put the fingers the other way. And repeat. Lift your arms up. Find your breath. Okay, and then relax and bring the hands down. Interlace your hands behind your back. Open across your heart. Find your breath. And then release the hands down. Take your hands on your knees. And we're just going to do a little seated cat-cow, where we're arching the back and rounding the spine, tuck the chin. As you open the heart, lift your chin. Just enjoy some mobility in the spine. All right, so move the spine around in some any kind of movement pattern that feels nice. All right, and then we're going to put our hand either on the floor or on what you're sitting on and stretch up and over to one side. Ground through the sit bones. And then come back and change sides. Arm up, over to the side. Relax your neck. And then come back. I'm going to twist. So reaching the right arm up, bring the hand either to the outside of the knee. You can even come on to the inside of the other knee. Wherever your comfort level is, drop the shoulders, open the chest. Full breaths. As you exhale, let the twist happen. The hand behind you is helping you stay erect. And come back, change sides. Reach that arm up and then bring it to the outside of the right knee or the inside of the left knee, whichever feels better for your body. Notice if you round, see if you can keep the chest broad beyond the front edge of or center of your sit bones. Finding the breath. All right, come back to center. Take both arms up, take a breath. Cactus, open the arms and then press them out to the sides. Keep the chest broad, lift your fingertips toward the sky And then just wave your hands to each wall, bringing your fingers toward the front and then toward the back. All right, and then relax. Shake out your hands. We're going to come off of our seat and come onto our mat. Okay, so find your way onto your back. And like I said, this practice, we're going to stay on the floor for almost the entire, we'll do a little bit up, but for most of the entire practice, we're going to stay on the ground. Okay, so now we've already done a little opening in our shoulders, so stretch your arms overhead and feel into the length of your sides and allow your hips to move. So hike one hip up and then hike the other hip up and stretch the other side away. Breathing well. All right, now we're going to bend our arms out like a cactus and we're going to kind of do some side bending. So right knee bends up toward right elbow and kind of bring them toward each other to touch. And then back out to a starfish and left elbow and left knee come toward each other to touch. So you don't have to touch your elbow and knee. That's just the direction that you're going. And we're just going back and forth between the two sides. See if you can regulate your breath where we're inhaling to lengthen and we're exhaling to compress in. Just getting some lateral bending in the body. And then we're going to stretch out after you finish your left side. So go until you finish your left side. And then stretch your limbs, stretch your body out like a star. And then exhale and pick up your knees and bring them in toward your chest. Okay, and then rock a little bit. You can sway from side to side. Let your back relax. Okay, let's circle the knees in one direction. Just notice the back of your body. See if you can relax and feel a little massage across your sacrum. Then go ahead and circle the other way. Breathing deeply. All right, the right knee comes in, left leg comes long on the floor. Let's roll the ankles around, swivel around through your feet. Just get some mobility in there. While you're feeling your feet get mobile and your calves and all that, feel into the compression of the hip. Enjoy what that feels like. And then switch sides. Left knee comes in, right leg is long on the floor. Move your feet around, roll around in your ankles, wiggle your toes. Full breaths here. All right, bring your knee back in and let's rock one more time. Swaying from side to side. Come into stillness, open your knees away from the midline, and then we're going to bring our knees back toward the midline. Okay, just a little bit of range of motion, just feel into not only the abduction and adduction, but how does your pelvis feel? Can you rock a little bit, anterior and posterior tilting? What's the natural movement pattern that you do here? Then once your legs are out away from the midline to wherever they are going to go, keep them there as if you were going to do happy baby pose, but we're holding on to the underside of the knee, like right at the top of the shins. And then just rock your knees away from your armpits and a little bit toward your armpits. And just feel into the anterior and posterior tilting of the pelvis while your legs are in the abduction. It's a little different feeling than when we do this when our legs are together. All right, and then bring your knees back in and rock a little bit, swaying from left to right. Okay. Big open starfish, spread out your limbs. Exhale, knees come in. All right, put your left foot onto the ground, grab your strap. Okay, so sometimes it's nice to stay on the floor. And if you're ever having a day where either your energy is low or you just feel the need for a little more nurturing where you're not expending so much energy, Sometimes being on the ground can be grounding. Okay, so left foot can be on the floor or long on the ground, your whole leg on the ground. So whichever you choose, we're going to lengthen up into Supta Padangusthasana. So wrap the strap around your foot wherever is comfortable. Lift your heel up, drop your hip down. See if the action of dropping your femur bone into the earth, what does that do for your back? Is there any soothing that happens when you root the femur bone down to the earth? Find your breath, relax your shoulders, have enough give on the strap where your head and your shoulders and your arms are easy. You're not kind of lifting yourself up toward your foot. All right, let's open the right leg out to the right. See if you can get a sense of space, spreading out to the side. And you remember, we're grounding, we're staying rooted through the left side of the body. Open up through the breath. Because we're here on the ground, let yourself melt a little bit. Feel the weight of your head. Give your weight over to the earth and feel supported. Just enjoy the feeling of stretching. Opening the body up. Lift that leg straight up. Take the strap over to the left hand. We're going to cross the right leg to the left. Feel free to put your hand in the hip crease of that thigh if you want. Stretch through the big toe and the inner heel. See if you can keep the length of that leg, the inner inseam of your leg. Long spine. Melt your head and shoulders. And then let's go ahead and lift that leg straight back up again. We're going to take the strap onto both feet now. And just notice the difference between your two legs, having already stretched a little bit on one side. Let's flex and point the toes while we're here. Just warming up some fascia, some muscles, all that soft tissue. And then we're going to put the strap across the left foot and bring the right leg down. So our right foot can be on the floor or our right leg can be on the floor. Your choice. Okay, feel the extension of the spine. Move your left hip away from your shoulder. Root the femur bone down into the earth. Lift the heel up into the sky. Can you do all of that all at the same time? And while you're doing all those actions, can you also melt? Can you find the experience of ease in the body? Once you have the dynamic substrate happening, those like subtle things that we're always doing within the postures, once you have a sense of alignment through those, just feel into what you're feeling. What are the sensations of the body? Scan and notice if there's tension or breath holding or something that can be changed to allow more ease in. Are your neck and shoulders relaxed enough? Can you feel the stretch across the belly of your hamstring instead of just at your attachments? All right, and then let's open up the leg. Left leg comes out to the left, grounding the right side of your body. Breathing well. As we're ready, lift that leg straight back up again. We're going to cross the left leg over to the right. Hold the strap in the right hand. Left hip crease moves away. Feel the length of the spine. Breathing deeply. And lift that leg back up again. One more time, 2 feet in the strap. Enjoy the length of the spine. Feel free to flex and point the toes here. Just opening up the calves, opening up the shins and the top of the feet. Okay, now either hold the feet, get rid of the strap, or hold behind the knees, whichever feels comfortable for a little happy baby pose, and rock. Let your back relax. I'm going to do a little bit of movement here. If you can hold the big toes, peace fingers, so index finger and middle finger around the big toes, do that. And just see what you can do. So we're going to rock a little bit to the right and stretch the right leg straight. And then we're going to rock to the left and stretch the left leg straight. Just letting some awakening come into the inner thighs one more time each side. Open up, and don't worry if you can't go all the way. We're just going where we go. You can always use a strap as well instead of holding onto your toes. All right, then release that. Spread your limbs wide. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, knees come up into the chest. Let's roll over onto our side and come up onto all fours. All right, so enjoy. Notice, do you already feel a little different just by spending some time stretching your body? Okay, let's move through the spine. Enjoy the mobility that you have. And then after a couple rounds of cat-cow, do any movement that is serving your body. So maybe some paintbrush circles are good for you today. Maybe, some fishtailing, some swaying from side to side. Whatever's good. Make sure you're still breathing. Feel free to keep your neck mobile. Then we're going to stretch back towards child's pose. Take your arms out in front of you. Start to become a little more aware of the upper body. Sometimes I like to rock from left side to right side and just get a little mobility in this pose, but you can also be very still. And let's walk our hands over to one side, feeling the awakening and opening through the rib cage. Relax the base of the skull. Take some deep breaths. So, we're just gonna dance around a lot of just deep stretching today instead of so much vigorous efforting. So let's enjoy kind of swinging the pendulum into long stretches and what that gives you. Melt the skull. Let's walk our hands over to the other side. The head is relaxed. Breathing deeply. Drop some weight into the hips. All right. We're going to come back up onto all fours and eventually find our way to dog pose. So feel that you're still very close to the ground with your head. See if you can enjoy the inversion and feel free to move around. So pedal out your feet and you can go slowly, you can go swiftly, you cannot move at all. Just find your way into the beautiful opening that this pose is. Yield and push to reach through the spine. Finding the breath. Feel free to take your feet a little wider and experiment with what that does for your breathing, what that does for the stretch and experience in your pelvis and legs. And then let's slowly walk our feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Bend your knees as much as you want to. Relax your head. Finding the breath. A halfway lift here. You can hold the legs or floor or blocks, thigh bones back and up. Lift your finger bones up and back. Ground through your feet. Spread out the bones of your feet. 4 points of your feet rooting as your arches lift. See if you can drink up from the soles of your feet all the way to your hips. And then exhale and melt. Drop your sit bones. Lift up through your spine. And here we are standing. Okay, so find your way into standing. Pause here for a moment. Let your blood pressure equalize. Finding your breath. Inhale, open up your chest, lean back. Spread your wings. And then release the hands down. Interlace your hands behind your back. Bend your knees again. Lengthen your spine. Your hands come away from your spine wherever they go. And then place your hands down onto the ground. Halfway lift. Sit bones get high. Exhale and melt. Let's step your left foot back. Right foot comes forward. Finding a lunge. Let's go ahead and place your back knee down onto the ground. You don't have to do this. If your knee does not like to be on a blanket or the floor, then you stay up in a lunge. Open up through the hip flexor of that back leg. Feel the chest rise. You can keep your hands on blocks. You can put your hands on your knee, whichever feels good. Maybe you want your arms up. Maybe you want one arm up. Just find the way that your body feels nice in this posture. Hug to the midline with your inner thighs. Stay stable. And then when you're ready, we're going to take a little twist here. So forearm comes onto your knee. Your other hand, your right hand holds onto your thigh. Have a little push to lift up through your spine. Stay connected to your inner thighs, hugging toward the midline. Find the breath. And then release your hands and come back to child's pose. Settle your hips. Let that hip flexor of your back leg, your left leg, just kind of recoil into softness. And come back up. And let's bring our right foot back and left foot forward. So coming to the other side. Keep the knee down if your body likes that. Lift your knee up if your body doesn't like that. Let's just feel into the beautiful stretch of the hip flexors here. Enjoy the openness of your psoas. Finding your breath in, finding your breath out. Maybe you want to come up a little higher. Maybe you want 2 hands up. Maybe you want 1 hand up. Maybe you want to lean. Just find what feels good. Try not to collapse into the low back. Stabilize your legs. Hug to the inner line of the body. And then when you're ready, a twist. Forearm on your knee. Your left hand is on your thigh, pressing so that you can keep the loft of your spine. Keep stabilizing inner thighs to midline. Press your front foot into the floor so that you're not collapsing in the pose. Open the breath. And then release and relax. Come back to child's pose. Settle, let the hips recoil back into softness. Finding your breathing. All right, and we're going to slide forward and bring our legs down onto the ground. Lie on your belly. Hands are close to your body, fingers in line with your nipples. Roll your shoulders a few times, and then inhale and lift up to cobra pose. Exhale and melt back down. One more time. Rising up. Enjoy opening your back. And then release. 3rd time's a charm. Go ahead and lift your body up. Exhale and lower your body back down. Find your breath. Back up onto all fours. Move your spine around. All right, we're going to come into pigeon pose. So take as much support as you need. And of course, you can come into reverse pigeon pose if your body needs some to be on your back. I'm going to take a lot of support today. I'm going to take 2 blankets underneath my legs and just see how that feels. Right leg is going to come forward. And then I'm going to find my way into pigeon. So sometimes less props is nice. Sometimes more props is nice. Now, I don't feel any less opening in my hip, but when I am up on this high of a stack underneath my back thigh and my front sit bone, my joints relax. My knee is like, oh, okay, I can rest into this. I can relax. I'm supported. So, maybe that's helpful. Maybe you like to be very close to the ground. So find your way into any variation of pigeon pose that's right for you. The sit bones get wide. Regardless of whether you're on your back or facing the floor, your sit bones are wide. You have a little neutral curve in your lumbar spine instead of rounding the pelvis. And your head can rest. Either the forehead or the back of the head is resting on something. All right, so just breathe into the deep feeling of your hip. See what you can do to allow your body to melt. Notice if your shoulders are really rounded. See if you can find some spaciousness across your collarbone. Find our way to make a change. So you get to come out and go into the other side, however is best suited for you. And, if you're using more props than you usually do, or less props than you usually do, or taking a different position, just allow your body to feel the support of the ground, to feel the support of your props, and just check in. Are you in a good place? Are you aligned well? Can you have a balance across the sacrum? Are your sit bones able to widen? Can you have a neutral curve in your low back? Is your neck relaxed? Can your head feel supported? How is your breath? Take your time. Find some deep breaths. Eventually going to come out of that pose. Come to sit up. Now I'm on 2 blankets. You might want to be on a little bit more height, a little bit less height. We're going to do, if it's comfortable, I'm going to show you the full pose and then I'll show you some backing away. So fire log, Agni Stambhasana. So for me, being up on 2 blankets is actually too high. 1 blanket is better for my body, but that's just me. So if you can stack your hips like this and your knees like this, then this is fire log. We want to make sure we're erasing the wrinkles in our inner ankles, so we're not collapsing the foot. We want to stretch through the inner heel, and the spine is up with nice anterior tilt to the pelvis just a little bit. Now, if this is like, oh my gosh, there's no way my hips or knees or ankles could do this, then lean back and put your hands on the ground, and then unwind the bottom leg and put your foot on the floor. And if that's still too much, walk your foot forward until you can get, and if you're on a sticky mat, let me back up. Sometimes doing this with a block on the sticky mat so that you have something to kind of help your toes be upright with your heel on the mat. All right, so just find wherever your body is able to support, and then lift your chest. No matter which position you're in, we're going to lift our chest. Find the breath. If you are in Uttanasana and you'd like something a little deeper, you can put your hands on your feet, press a little bit, feet into hands, hands into feet, and then release that and lengthen your spine forward, chest forward, not rounding down. Come on out of there, and we're going to repeat to the second side. You can straighten your legs in between if you want, and then put the other foot on top. Now, if you kind of end up and you're like this is not exactly the pose you want to be in. So if that's the case, lean back and get your foot out so that you have some support. So it's kind of like reverse pigeon pose, but a little different because you're in a different orientation of gravity. So there's a little more capacity to lift it, open the chest, and work with the hips through the spine. All right, so if you're in Uttanasana, you can kind of lift your sit bones up and draw them back behind you, a nice little anterior tilt to the pelvis, erase your wrinkles. No matter which position you're doing, the inner ankle wrinkles are going away. And then you can press your hands and feet into each other if your body is able to do Uttanasana, if you're comfortable, if your joints are comfortable. Then lift the spine and melt a little more forward. You can repeat that as many times as you want, a little PNF stretching where you kind of press your hands and feet into each other and then release and go a little deeper. So you find you, breathing well. Out of the posture, no matter which one you were in, and you can be on the edge of the blanket for this. We're going to take our legs to the place that's comfortable. It doesn't have to be our most widest. We want to have a stretch in the inner thighs without feeling like we're overburdening the attachments of our sit bones or our inner knees. Hands can come behind you to lift yourself up. You can also bring your hands forward. You can also, if you have props, you can rest your head on something if that feels better to you. So find the pathway that's filled with ease and appropriate stretching. It's very easy to overstretch the hamstrings and the inner thighs. So we want to make sure that we're in a safe, neutral place here. You'll lean forward, come back, one hand in the front, one hand in the back, and just find a nice gentle twist. And then come back to center and go the other way. Back. Hold your inner knees, bring your legs back in, give them a hug. Just let the rubber band that's been stretched out relax. Round your spine, tuck your chin. Okay, all right, and then we're gonna come onto our right side. So as you lie down on your side, you can support if you want, you can grab a blanket or a block to put underneath your head. We're just going to stretch our quads here. But first, just enjoy the fact that everything's easy and relaxed. When you're ready, grab onto the top of your left ankle, and then we're going to stretch that thigh. So you can grab a strap and put it around your ankle if you can't reach your foot. Remember to stabilize your pelvis. So we're stacking shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip, so we're not leaning back. And I have my right knee pretty bent so that I have a good sense of balance instead of straightening my leg. You can straighten your leg, but it's a little easier for balance if your right leg is bent on the floor, bent at the knee and hip. And then with your left leg, stretch your knee away from your head. Move your tailbone toward that knee as well. Lift your pubic bone. So you want to have stability in the pelvis and torso to help you open up the quad. And relax. And just roll right over onto your other side. So now we're on our left side and we're going to stretch our right quad. So support your head if you want. Stack everything, shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip. Your knees are bent, your hips are bent. And then grab onto the top of the right ankle with your right hand and stretch that knee away from your head. So find a comfortable place. We're not leaning back, we're stacked on our side. We're not letting our leg lift up in the air. We're keeping our knee in line with the hip and stretch through the quadricep fibers. See if you can open and let them bloom. The tailbone moves toward the knee. The pubic bone lifts toward the belly button. Stay inside your breath. If you can't reach your hand, you can always use a strap. Not everybody can go into a lot of deep knee flexion. So you can use a strap to elongate your arms so that you're not having to flex so deeply in your knee joint. Deep breaths. All right, relax and rest on your side for a moment, finding your breath. We're going to come onto our back. Simple twist. Lift your hips and scoot them over to the right a couple of inches. Knees come up and drop them left. Turn to the side and breathe. Make sure your breath is coming with you with these long held poses. See if you can just melt your breath into the process of opening the body. Pick up the knees. Find a neutral spine. Take a breath in your neutral spine. We're going to go the other way. Shift your hips left, knees come up, and drop them right. Enjoy the open chest, and the thoracic spine starting to broaden. Let your breath come in. Back. Once again, neutral spine. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. And as we find Shavasana, take any variation of this that you want. So perhaps you'd like to lay flat on the ground. Maybe you need some support underneath your knees. Maybe you're a little cold and you'd like to put a blanket over your body. So just see what it is that you need right now for deep comfort. As you start to settle into your lying down posture. adjust anything you need so that really truly you fall into ease. So maybe you need your knees bent, maybe you need a pillow under your head, maybe your arms need to be in a different position. Let's begin to deepen your breathing. Let your body feel how nice it is being connected to the earth itself, staying low. Actually finding a little bit of movement, breathing well. Your side, as you are ready, actually finding a full upright posture, coming to sit. Placing your hands at your heart. Offer your grounding. forth your love and care to Namaste. Thank you. I hope you have a fabulous day.